We will call this meeting to order. Please note for the record that Ms. Walker is absent tonight, and we will do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, tonight we have Zayvon Jones from Cherokee Elementary. He's in the first grade. He is in Miss Corn's class. His parents are Sabrina and Jacob. His interests are playing video games, watching races and sprint cars, learning to read. I like that one. Learning to read. Using iStation and recess. That recess is my favorite subject too. Okay, Mr. Zayvon, come on.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we've got something for you, and then we're gonna take a picture with you, okay?
Yes. Stand up there. Get a picture, okay? Oh, there.
Okay, smile real big.
Ready?
Yeah, we do.
Perfect.
Good job.
That's
Good job, David.
Good job, David.
Here, you want this as a souvenir, Mom and Daddy?
Thank you for coming. All right.
Thank you, David.
May or may not have to bribe him a little bit.
He didn't forget.
Or say drink.
All right, B, Tigers Roar, THS cheer.
I'll bribe y'all too. Come on. I'll buy you a drink after this.
Yes, that's a
Yes, it's okay.
You're gonna get one water.
I have a school credit card. Come on up.
Starbucks is their love language.
Oh, I know that.
We're gonna get all y'all in there.
All right, girls, we need a second row.
I know. Yeah, we need second
Why
row.
don't you tell us why you're here today?
So we are academic state champions. Highest GPA in 5A. Our GPA.
There you go.
Oh, all right, sorry. Get back, bring it back. Bring it back, picture together. And then you guys can all introduce yourselves.
There you go. Now,
Fix that hair, don't step on a flower.
What's your GPA?
3.8.
Why don't you tell us who you are and what grade you're in?
I'm JK, I'm in 11th.
I'm Anna and I'm 12.
I'm Trinity and I'm in 12th. I'm Hillary and I'm a senior. I'm Haley, I'm a senior. I'm JC, I'm a senior. I'm Grace, I'm a junior. I'm Lindy, I'm a junior. I'm Caitlin, I'm a freshman. I'm Kennedy, I'm a freshman. I'm Brooklyn, I'm a sophomore. I'm sorry. I'm Shaylee, I'm a freshman. I'm Callie, I'm a junior. I'm Manisha, I'm a freshman. I'm Micah, I'm a sophomore. I'm Brooklyn, I'm a junior.
And your routine was great. I would have given you first.
Thank you.
Hey, you all are welcome to stay, but you're also free to leave, so no pressure.
Yes.
Do you have any public heard? Item D, discussion of motion to approve or not approve the minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? I'll second. Any discussion? Mr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
Aye. D, superintendent's report.
Right, we just wanted to do a quick little bond update. There are some things that we have started purchasing, on technology and transportation. Of course, we did transportation bond and that, we originally were going to purchase 5 buses, but with the price of buses, that has gone down to 4. But those buses are now ordered and we will get, the first one, I believe, in December and then the rest of next spring. Also in the regular bond, there was money for SRO vehicles, driver's ed vehicles, and maintenance vans. Tonight you'll have quotes on here for 2 SRO vehicles, 2 driver's ed vehicles, and 1 maintenance van. We have also have the purchase order or contract on here for security systems. We are redo the security camera systems in all the buildings except Heritage and Sequoia, and they have these systems, so that's why they do not have one. We have some great, big, awesome projects that are gonna happen, and Mr. JT Boynton is here from BWA Architects, and he is going to tell us about those projects.
How do you card?
Oh, great.
Everybody, no, I don't need a drink. Did y'all get this in your, start again, because I don't know all of your role yet. I'm JT Boynton, I'm with BWA Architects. And we're always very honored to work with clients, so we appreciate the opportunity. Always thank them, but I forget to say it sometimes, so I try to get out of it. Did y'all get these little handouts? I know we're gonna go through it on the board, but I brought some big copies in case you wanted to. Oops, that's mine, it's got
Okay.
But this is the time in the bond projects that you guys don't really get to see that much, and so talking to Mrs. Jones, we decided that we'd come give you a little update on where we stand on the projects. And you should start seeing some progress by the first of the year on actual projects, dirt moving as we call it. Okay. How do I click, or do I just say click?
Say click.
Click. I'm just gonna go through the projects and you guys stop me at any time. I try to move so I'm not sticking my backside in anybody's face. Stop and ask me questions at any time you want. We currently have 2 projects out to bid. The first project, and by out to bid, you're required to advertise it for 21 days. And so it's been out to bid for a little bit, and we plan on bidding on October 19th. CMS Willowbrook, your construction manager, has it out on the streets right now. This is the indoor practice facility over there at softball, baseball facility. It's located, I call it on top of the hill right there to remind you where it is. And it's just an open facility with a couple boys, their toilets, not really locker rooms, but a couple of restrooms with some little changing areas so you're not standing in the stall, and then storage. Mostly it's for indoor athletic facilities. We use it for everything from cheer to softball to baseball. And it will have some batting cages in there, softball and baseball, a total of 4, I believe, right now. And that should have been on October 19th.
Turf inside,
Turf inside. This is a very glamorous picture of your football field, because we don't really do rendering today. It is done a bit at the same time as the athletic facility. It's taking your current middle school, we do call it the middle school now, right? Not junior high, it's gone back and forth. Middle school, your current middle school field, it's gonna run the same direction, but we're gonna level it and then put down turf. You will see a dramatic change out there because we've got about 8 feet of change right now. So we'll meet somewhere in the middle, so one end will be raised and one end will be lowered and give us a nice flat field. It bids, like I said, at the same time as the indoor practice facility. So these drawings are done, we're currently answering questions from contractors, and I'll be back on the 19th when they bid that project. The hope is that those 2 projects, if CMS Willowbrook is able to verify everything, that we might be at your November board meeting making a recommendation. If we're not, then we'll be back in December. Questions about those 2 projects?
When is expected completion?
I think they're about 9 months on those. The football field, we're gonna try to get done before football season next year. And the indoor practice facility, that's about all the quickest you can expect anything to get done. This is where I hedge it and talk about everything that's in the news. What they call it, supply chain, pressure. Yeah, we just can't get stuff. So that slows down some projects a little bit.
Our middle school can play on this field, our high school can practice on this field, our band can practice on this field, soccer could use this field. It will be used for multiple
Soccer
reasons.
can play their games.
Am I speaking wrong on that?
What's up?
I mean, soccer can use it? Yeah.
They can, the soccer field will fit on there.
They do, they have the existing bleachers that are there and the concession stand. There was some interest in turning that football field a different direction, but that would have meant that we had to redo bleachers and concession stand and all of the lights. You're talking a couple $1 million extra, and no one from the community came to want the field named after them, so we're having to stick with the way that it already is, and then hopefully we can fix up the other pieces that we have there as time goes on.
Everybody's familiar with Oklahoma education funding, and this is a very typical approach that we come in and do phases on athletic facilities, because if you start and build a brand new stadium, it's a very economic pressure on your budget. So, it's exciting. Indoor practice facility, I remember, we've talked about that for a while. So the 2 athletic facilities would be of great use. Any more questions about those? Clint? Kind of good on this? We are also doing additions and renovations at the Greenwood and Cherokee Elementary Schools. The first one up there is at Greenwood Elementary School. We currently are tracking the project. Our deadline for completing the drawings is mid-October. I'd give you the actual date, but then you'd be disappointed if I missed it by 1, so it's in the next couple of weeks. With that date, we are currently looking to bidding in mid-December. We probably could squeeze it in front of Thanksgiving, maybe, but we decided to go ahead and wait until a couple of weeks. You can't bid it the week after Thanksgiving because nobody will participate. So in the first part to mid-December, we'll actually bid the project. It is currently a new front, it's a storm shelter on the front of Greenwood Elementary. It has 2 special education classrooms and a music classroom. It's actually 3 special education classrooms. And it's a storm shelter for the students and staff of Greenwood Elementary.
What's the length of time for that?
That'll be about a year construction.
It'll be ongoing during the school year.
Yes, ma'am. It's located, we looked at putting it in the back, we looked at several different locations. The scope stayed pretty much the same since the project started, tweaking it here and there. But the location, I think pre-bond was in the back of the building. But it actually works better for us to move it up front, not to mention it's up front where we can see all the progress, which is good in the community.
It saved a couple $100,000 to move it to the front.
The back's, if anybody's familiar with that, that area, it's a very big drop off. You have some existing things back there, playgrounds and things like that we would have had to deal with. And we found that to fit up front, so we're gonna do it there. Oh, you glitched back. Way to go. I'm still in this. It's good. At the bottom, you will see that we show a parking lot, and the reason we're showing that is because we are planning on redoing that parking drives. So that will be a complete new parking and drives, and we are going to put a new entrance. We're designing a new entrance to help identify the main entrance of that school.
Carline Heroes.
Are there any questions about that project? Mid-December, so it probably won't start construction until after the first of the year, maybe 1st of February. We'll be here for the January board meeting, so actually it will be after the 1st of February before it starts construction. You would be planning on using those classrooms to your teachers, not the next year, but the next year. What's that, 24? 24, 25. 24, 25. We're getting old, Gar. Yes. Okay. Any questions? This is the Cherokee Elementary School. It's a new administration secure entrance. And it's rotating the building to the entrance to the south. It'll kind of be on the south side, and you will enter, you can see from the southwest corner. I always have to get myself into town to get the directions. Did I get them right? So you'll have that new secure vestibule. The reception will be able to greet everybody and keep them in that area. And then you'll have a security, a resource officer, and 3 offices, and a new front entrance. We have also a plan to convert the old gym into a media center and a nurse's office. Or cafeteria, yes, the stage, sorry. And then we are adding a couple of restrooms in the old library. Remember that, Dana? The old library to help service those classrooms in that area. The timing on this, we will bid it at the same time to help with pricing as we will bid the Greenwood Elementary School.
This admin addition is where the old cupboard, where kids used to sit to wait for the bus on the end of the building, that's where this will be. So it will be on either side, the bus side and where the car line is right now, so it'll be literally on the corner, so they have a view of both ways.
On here where it says nurse, that will be in the cafeteria.
No, the nurse and the media center is the old cafeteria. Right now, that's used as ABL lab. And that space will be turned into our library, and the back portion of it will be a new nurse's office.
I should have brought a whole site plan of it, but we get involved in these and we forget not everybody spends every day looking at them like we do.
So they've been working on these plans for a long time, started with Mr. Ashlock, started on asking principals what they needed and what they saw as the vision for their building, and then we've had multiple meetings since then. Principals have got to go through the plans with us, like the music room at Greenwood has went and visited other music rooms in the district to see, what's the best of all those spaces, and so we're trying to pull all that together to make one that we think is gonna be the best. One thing that they're gonna do on this library, they're going to take some of the old oak floor from where they had an old stage and use that somewhere in the design. So we're saving a piece of the old into the new. Thought that was kinda neat.
She pays attention in those meetings, doesn't she? He takes all those notes, is what he is. As I said, those projects will both bid in December, mid-December, right before Christmas, which before Christmas. But I think that's it.
Yes.
That's it. The other thing that I typical is school board members ask about the budgets. As you know, there's pressure on budgets. But Bond called for additional renovations. We had a big long list, and we knew we weren't gonna get it all, but we have money set aside to do some of those projects, some minor renovations, and so we are holding off on doing any of those plans or drawings until these projects bid, and then we have a better understanding of the budgets. We anticipate that there's money in the bonds to do these projects, and then we'll see where we stand. We got new cost estimates as we go, and they really haven't changed that much. We tried to be pessimistic at the beginning, and it's paying off. We're a little bit over budget, but not much. So hopefully, we'll be able to move forward once the project's bid. And we made adjustments to some of the scopes as we moved. And that doesn't mean we cut stuff off. It just means that I use car analogies. Your Chevy might not have as much bells and whistles as we thought it might, but it's still gonna be a real nice Chevy.
It's good.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
We also, on my superintendent's report, just to go over enrollment numbers, as of yesterday, we have 3,615 students, 196 pre-K, 435 at Cherokee, 510 at Greenwood, 493 at Heritage, 682 at the middle school, and 1299 at THS and Central. Sequoia has one opening for transfer student at this moment, as of yesterday, I did not look today. Cherokee has 9 various spots, Greenwood has 2, and Heritage has 19. Middle school has 5 spots, and THS has 4 spots in 10th grade. And as always, those numbers are updated every day on our website, so if you have a question between now and then, that's where you can find those numbers. And the next thing that we wanted to go over, I know that you all know that we set district goals this year. And within those district goals, which were pretty lofty and wide, asked each of the departments and the sites to make more specific goals. Now, we have a couple leaders in those departments that had probably done this on their own in the past, but I believe it's the first time that they've been asked specifically to come up with something that's specific to our district goals. So we had a great meeting. I think I stressed some of them out a lot about asking them to do this because I asked them to make SMART goals, specific, measurable, the acronym for SMART. And I think they knocked it out of the ballpark. It was a great conversation. A couple of them are in the room that helped on that, and I'm excited to see what we're gonna do with that. So we're gonna look at some of those department goals for them. I put a lot on there, but I promise not to read it all. But just to remind everyone what our district goals are this year, to increase academic achievement, create a positive culture, and maintain a safe and secure environment. So they took those and then made specific goals for their site from that. The first is transportation. Poor Paul, love him dearly. He's doing a killer job as first year as a transportation director. The day after he did his presentation, there was an accident. So we didn't knock on wood or something, so 0 accidents after the one that we had. It also is going to track and reduce vehicle downtime each month. He's going to reduce transportation absenteeism through efforts to work on culture. They're doing t-shirts, they're doing lunches together. Visited there today and they had decorated the whole building for Pink Out for October. So they're always trying to do something to work on morale. They're focusing on on-time delivery by always looking at the way that we're dropping kids off, the way that we're picking kids up. We've already, Mashburn and I met with him last week when he said, hey, there's some things I know we can fix at middle school and high school as they've noticed the traffic that we need to change. So he did that because I asked him to keep looking at those things and seeing what he can change. And I've already made a change that I think improved the traffic flow this week. And if they're there and they're on time, then they can have breakfast, they can get to their classes, and they can do the things they're supposed to, which in turn affects their academics. Also, they're just focusing on all of these things with involvement in district-wide and community activities, and I think that goes back to the culture. They're just trying to be a part of everything within our school district. Our athletic goals, Matt was good at this, and I can't read that from here. So they have been doing a lot of work on culture already, as it says, for the past 8 years. Thank you. He has really come in and changed what I see as the athletic department in our district. Now I can't read it all, Robert.
I don't know if that's gonna help, sorry. I was trying to be helpful. There you go.
I think about things like the Hall of Fame banquet that he has brought to our district and other things that he's done. So just a shout out to the good work he does, and it's a really hard job because it's super hard to make everybody happy in the role that he has. I don't know that he gets many good conversations. So if you have something nice to say about our athletics, go tell someone because they need to hear it. Been married to a coach for 26 years. They're really working on partnering with different organizations and businesses. Does a lot of things with Cherokee Nation, does a lot of things with Northeastern State University. And I know that and he knows that these community engagements that he's working on are really going to, up ticket sales. They're going to up pride. We're going to make more money, which we can put into our athletic department. On safety, they have just been committed and done a really good job of wearing their ID badges, checking gates and doors regularly. They have an AD, an SRO, and a principal or assistant principal at every athletic event. Most home games, we probably have more than that, and we're kind of flooding it with our own purposely this year. And so they're going to continue to make those changes. They're going to look to see again what we're doing working, and if it's not, then we're going to change that. He's very, very fluid at seeing what we need to do to affect change. He knows that all communication is the way we're going to get that done. Communication with our community, with our schools, and with our families. On academics, their goal was to reduce athletic ineligibility by 10% weekly. They're going to do that again with communication. Communication with the student athletes and parents. He prints a list every Wednesday. He gets it to those coaches. He reminds them, checks with them. Have you made these calls? Do you know why these kids are on this list? So that someone is checking on them and making sure that we can help them do better in the future. The child nutrition goals, the same. Dana works so hard every day and super proud of her and what she does for our child nutrition. Academic achievement is going to be improved in her area by focusing on breakfast participation. Research shows that balanced breakfast helps with concentration and focus, which are essential to kids' learning. So they're going to work on increasing marketing for breakfast and trying to get better participation and tracking that participation to see what we can do to change that. Also always works on a positive culture for the stakeholders. Trying to get the word out about child nutrition, social media, board meetings. That's why she comes and does reports for us every other month. Meeting with the Sodexo, our child nutrition company. We had a great meeting with them last week, the week before, time flies. And that had not happened from the board level with the child nutrition company in 4 years. And they were super excited to sit down and listen to us and take our feedback on what we think needs to be changed. And I think we all left very positive from that meeting. And also from that meeting, and something that Dana had already talked about doing ahead of that meeting, was surveying students, asking them what do they want to eat, what do they want to see. One of the big conversations we have with Sodexo was, a lot of our children, the only place they do get a good meal is at school. So if it has to be a cheeseburger every day, I'd rather it be a cheeseburger that they eat every day than something that we're trying to introduce them to that maybe they don't eat. So I think they heard that, and they're gonna do some things to help us work on that. Also in the safe and secure environment, always food safety is number one for what she does in her department. They do a lot of physical and health safety training and safety moments, so that they're working on that a little at a time. Our finance goal, Miss Sabrina has come in and just been awesome at her job. We both learn something new every day, and that's okay, because we should be lifelong learners. But I'm super proud of what she does for our district, and her first goal was to claim 100% of all the federal grants monthly. That's not always been done, and we've seen the ramifications of maybe doing it slow in the past, and we don't ever want that to happen again, and she won't let that happen, so I'm not worried about that at all. But by claiming on a regular basis, we'll be reimbursed for expenditures on time. We'll know exactly what we're gonna have at the end of the year, so we can plan for instruction for the following year. And making sure we take good care of federal dollars means that we have those federal dollars to spend on supplies, equipment, and services for our students. Working on a positive culture for the finance staff, truly feels like they feel valued and they stay. She works on having that team. Loving what you do makes you wanna be there at your job every day. And also she feels like that will make mistakes be fewer and us have better productivity when we are here. She does surveys quarterly to see what she needs to do as a director and what we can do as a district to help that change. And also commits to just supporting all safety procedures by the district with the badges and the doors locked. So when they visit places or even here, we're making sure we're kept everything locked like we need to. Operations goals, Brad, had to write a lot so I can't see again. Brad has done a lot of research. I love it, because every time I talk to him, he says, do you know if we do this, this increases? And so he's trying to do what he uses light bulbs. He can come back and say it needs to be, he uses words that I don't even understand, but it needs to be this brightness or this dimness. This is what you do for this type of learning. This is what you do for this type of environment. And he's helping us share that information with our staff. So one of the things to increase academic achievement is maintenance will change out fluorescent lighting to LED. They're just gonna track the number of work orders that we have completed and communicate with site admin over the next 12 months to understand what it is that he does that can make their jobs better. Also, a 30% reduction in equipment failure, and they're going to do that because they're going to do preventative maintenance. They're gonna have a plan for that, such as like assigning 10 pieces of equipment to be inspected on a regular basis. And again, tracking that and looking to see what it is that they can do differently to do better the next year. On a safe and secure environment for all, that will respond to safety requests within 24 hours. We had, how many work orders did we have come in the beginning of this year when we first started the safety stuff?
We had about 750.
That immediately, when we started working with our staff and said, check these things, what do we need to do to actually meet our safety goal? They they answered, when we asked what they needed, they answered. And so they worked tirelessly to get all those things done. And so the safety things, we also have a new work order system this year that I think is really streamlining some things. Where you can mark whether or not this is like a safety or there's a different word for it, an emergency.
Yes.
Although when I have to give him a shout out because when I asked for things like pretty posters to be hung, he checked emergency for me. So got done for the board meeting today. They also, his staff gets to go around to all the buildings more than most of us. And so as they are there, they're helping us check for those safety things as well. Because they are an important part of the team, just like a teacher is inside of the building. Technology goals. Robert, what can we say about Robert? Robert can never go away because I can't even begin to speak his language. He too spent a lot of time on figuring out what he wanted to do and what he does in his area of expertise to help us with those district goals. And for the academic achievement, making sure that we have at least 25 spare Chromebooks and 10 iPads available each size. Dedicated wireless access points, because he knows if they don't have the technology to learn, then they can't do some of the learning that they need to. He also will create a positive culture for stakeholders with the average help desk resolution being under 3 days. That too is a new part of the work order system. It's not only maintenance work orders and facility use orders, but it's also tech orders. So they were able to track those to see if those are done and what they could do differently again in the future. And maintaining a safe and secure environment for all. School admin will be made aware of anything suspicious or concerning on one of our devices within 15 minutes of the event. And he means that because I'm pretty sure that last time I got one was on a Sunday night, a text to Miss Mashburn and myself that said, hey, this just came up and this is what we need to do about it. So he looks at all the software that we use, has added some safety software this year that has really been helping us and helps us go through all the different technology that we have and we use to make sure that we are streamlining what we have and we only have what we need and what's most effective for our children. So thank you, Robert. And this is our team. This was a picture that we took at the end of the year, and I have no doubt with these directors at the helm of their areas that we will just knock it out of the ballpark. Okay. Some questions? Try to talk fast, guys, sorry.
Principal and directors report, Ashburn, and Mr. Ryder.
It'll be a duo.
He's gonna
I
bite
feel like a
you.
Saturday Night Live skit coming on.
We know she can dance.
Yes, we
Why did I say anything? I do not want to have to do that part of my life.
It's okay.
Okay.
Carl, what you should have done is start whatever you're gonna show us with that clip of
Yes,
that.
that would be great to put all in there.
She
I can
made us
airdrop
promise
it.
to never use that.
Some of them are gonna learn it.
I mean, I can screen test them.
Yeah, Mickey's got it.
Well, just like as Ms. Jones said about all the department goals, we ask all of our sites, the principals, to do goals, and when we ask them to do something, you can tell they go above and beyond because each site wrote us a list and they all have a worksheet that they filled out with this process that goes to the SMART goals. It also talks about the strategies and action steps that they're going to do to complete these goals, who is responsible for these goals, a target date and timeline that they're going to complete these goals, and then they're going to show us they showed us the evidence of effectiveness. So we're just basically highlighting some things they're going to do, but it was a very in-depth process that they went through to create these goals for their building, and they also had their staff involved in making these goals. So we'll start off with that one. And our first goal, of course, the district goal is the increase academic achievement for all students. We're gonna highlight a few of these and then just kind of talk about some of the activities that they're going to do at Sequoia. One of their main goals that they were gonna do was have an 80% growth in all areas on the Dial 4 assessment. The Dial 4 assessment is famous in the pre-K world. That's how they'll do all the assessment of their students to see if they're ready to move on to the next grade. Some of the things at Sequoia that they're doing to prepare for our kindergarten is, you'll hear me talk about a new reading curriculum that we've implemented in our kindergarten through third grade. Pre-K is not a part of that curriculum, but they have access to it, and those teachers are finding out anything from our kindergarten teachers that what our students need to be ready for that. So some of the ways that they're meeting that 80% goal is they're having flex groups to work on skills, and then they're using their whole group and one-on-one instruction with the students in the classroom. And if you ever want to see greatness in work, visit on over to the pre-K center. You know, I call them the ankle biters. The ankle biters were behaving this morning when they went to the fire station, and it was a great field trip to the fire station. So that was excellent. At Cherokee, one of their highlights is to reduce the percentage of students on an IPRI, that's the reading plan. We know that's the reading sufficiency plan in K through 3. Some of the ways that they're gonna do that is they're really highlighting their literacy coaches. Their literacy coaches will work with the classroom teachers to improve instruction, and literacy coaches will have intensive tier 2 instruction. So very, very great things at Cherokee to get those literacy coaches. We've got Miss Cosby taking in a lot of, we hear Take Flight. It's a new reading assessment that will help any of our struggling readers, and we're looking at ways to try to get that in all of our literacy labs. So it's a phenomenal program, and she's kind of piloting that for us. At Greenwood, one of their main things is they're having grade level goals for every subject, for math, reading, and science. And just because I'm highlighting these things doesn't mean that the other sites aren't doing it. It was just one of the things that I think was just great that they're doing is Greenwood, Rhonda is working very, very hard to build that team culture and to get everyone working together to build in every subject, in math, reading, science, all the way across. Some of her highlights is she's really using the EL, our English language intervention. As you know, we've hired an EL teacher at every one of our elementary sites, and Greenwood has over 100 students. I believe it's 138. 108 EL students there, so we have a big population, and so she has found her group, and so they are going after them to give those kids everything they need. And she's implemented a site council at her site, and they have monthly meetings with the principal, and so we hope we're anxious to see how that goes, to see how powerful that is for increasing our academic achievement. And at Heritage, they're having grade level rules as well about the HMH curriculum, that's the new reading curriculum, and an RTI schedule for all of her students. And at Heritage, Amanda, as you've heard us say before, is kind of our professional learning communities guru, and so she is excellent at that. And one of her highlights is she's implemented a book, having like a little book study, a book group there, the Powered Data Teams. And then she also has all of her PLC meetings are data-driven meetings, and she has trained her teachers to lead those meetings. She just gets to walk around and look like a princess in her hallways while they are all just working. I was over there this last Friday with her late start Fridays, and she was in there with one group, but they had everything was going on. And at the elementary, we're implementing the new reading curriculum. They are doing it all with fidelity. I couldn't ask for a better support from the principals to support the teachers. I went around and had different meetings with different grade levels to give them the confidence that I want quality over quantity. I said, I hope no one asked you what reading story you're on, if you're on module 2 or module 3. I just want you to try all of the curriculum, because we can't throw something out the door and not use it if we haven't tried it before. And these 3 ladies have done, and their assistants have done an excellent job as giving that to them. So,
Question, Carl?
yes.
How is Late Start Friday? Like, I know we've pushed out that if you can wait until 9 to bring your kids to give us time, do we have a lot of kids coming, or we have parents that are waiting?
We have a lot of kids coming. We have some that's keeping their kids at home, but most of them are coming there.
And I know a lot of people have to, because
Yes.
they can't
Yes.
take the counter off.
And that's okay, and it goes up and down at each building. We have different days where things go just fine. Sometimes it gets a little hectic, but they work through all of that, and we're having conversations about those to see if that's, you know, how productive they are.
I'm just curious, cause like I said, I know, I've also like just heard from other parents, kids, friends and stuff, they're, oh, we forgot it was Late Start Friday. So, and I know that we've been pushing it out on social media, so I don't know if there might be some other, for parents, there may be more parents who can and just forget because it's out of the routine, so.
Okay, I'll go ahead and pick up from here with the middle school. One of their goals, and they had many, as we had talked about, 80% or better in ELA, math, science, and social studies. And they're working and they're looking at that through their summative benchmarks. They created new summative benchmarks. It's kind of been the whole gamut. When I was there, we did summative. Then when JC and it kind of switched over, we started doing benchmarks that where you would teach for 5 to 6 weeks and then you would bench on it and teach for 5 to 6 weeks and bench on it. Abby has now gone back. Her whole staff has wanted to go back to a summative, what they need to know by the end to make sure if they already know it, they're not covering it as long. And so they're using that. They have many interventions at the middle school, and we are fortunate to have that model going on. One of those is a couple of things extra that we have are our math remediation teacher and an ELA remediation teacher. And they go in there for the quarter. We do not, some students lack in both areas. And we try to get the kids on the bubble. In other words, we're getting those kids that were almost proficient. Those students, we look at more than just one test. We look at everything that they've done in the prior year. We look at any scores. We take teacher recommendation and we say, who can we really work on and skills to double dip them in what they're already learning. So they go back and reteach things. Sometimes the student might have to stay 2 quarters, but we try not to take away. They have 2 electives in the middle school, so we try not to ever take away something that means a whole lot to them, you know, so we can keep that going. We have an intervention period daily. So daily, there is an intervention period that every teacher and every elective teacher now has students that they are remediating. If they are elective teachers, they've been pulling kids, they'll say, hey, we looked at the ineligible list, I'm gonna grab these 7 kids, I'm gonna help them get off of that. Or there's teachers pulling small groups and reteaching. So they might go across there, because they're in pods, they might go across and an 8th grade math teacher might take any 8th grade student that's lacking in one skill and have that time to remediate. So they have that remediation time. They also have a small focus built in of about 25 minutes. And in that time, they've been doing a lot of reading. Just have a selected book of your choice, have a reading time, and then if there's any individual conferencing going on, they do that. So that's really been nice for the middle school. That structure is very nice. High school, one of their major goals is to move that composite ACT score up to 18.3, just giving them, and just to even move it to 0.1 is huge. I mean, it takes a lot to meet that. When we share test scores, I think in November, Cara and I will be back visiting with you, and we will share test scores and we can show you some of that information and data. And so now this year we have, for remediation at the high school, we have 2 class periods at 2 different times in the 7-period schedule where they can come in for ELA. And it's an English teacher that if they teach 6 periods, they have 5 maybe of English, 3, but one of theirs is they are the English remediation teacher. So they take a English 1 student all the way to a senior English student if they're lacking anything, need help in writing or reteaching. We have 2 periods in math now built into the schedule and 2 periods in science. So there's reteaching taking place there. It really takes a collaborative effort. Now they tell me right now, her guiding coalition with our Gear Up and our PLC groups, we have a guiding coalition. They're making a procedure because everybody wants their kids. You know, nobody wants to give up. When we do try to get them out of an elective time or some other time, but we don't have an ELA offered every period. Ideally, you would have ELA every period for math, every period like that, so then the student could always go on their elective. So they've really had some tricks that they're having to work through, but it's working. They're collaborating and they're working, so I think that's really great. Another thing, Natalie is going to kick back in freshman ICU, and she's going to use her other VPs. When Corey Slagle was here, he did something called freshman ICU. Our freshmen are usually bleeding, it's like help, it's overwhelming. We have 7 periods, we're learning this new structure, we're all melting together. So what they typically do is they look at that ineligible list, they pull them in, they talk to them as the principal on not a disciplinary manner, but they talk to them about, hey, let's set some goals. How can I help you? Are you overwhelmed in this? Who do we need to hook you up with? And they do little incentives with them. And those kids will do anything for a candy but food. They will do any kind of food. And they do that, and it just kind of gets larger, like they'll do little pizzas, just different things to connect with those freshman students. This year we have implemented a new class with Wade Couch, and it is a freshman orientation intervention type. Every freshman has to go through it. So this first semester, he has, not all of them, he'll get the other half, but they're doing everything from just how to be a high school student, how to take notes, he just does all kinds of team building, because as you remember, we're bringing in all those feeder schools. All those feeder freshmen are coming in with our freshmen that have been from Tahlequah Middle School, and just really trying to support them and give them support. And I know he's doing a fantastic job. He's someone that has been a teacher and a coach in Vian, so he has a lot of experience with students. And he was a policeman too, so he's not scared of anybody. That can scare you a little bit. So, and our Central Academy of Success, they are working towards 85% or greater with their assigned courses to keep students on track. And they're also, she's implementing an area where some of her teachers, they're usually on a product, and they're on Edgenuity, and it's a state-approved coursework. But so often in the week, they're going to start pulling them in and having English lessons and writing, just different things that they can do so they can really improve academic success for those students. I was in there the other day, and she has to do an art component, and we had, they were making baskets, Native American baskets, and it was amazing that with the reeds, and they were all wet, and they were weaving, and the products were wonderful. So she's doing a lot of really great things to connect with kids. So that's what we have for the academic side of our goals.
Okay, and for the positive culture for all stakeholders, it was great that all of our sites listed everything that was pretty much the same. So all of our sites are going to promote positive relationships through effective communication, collaboration, meaningful connections, and involvement. And it was just, when we were looking at this, we were amazed that they all had, because we wanted them to work together. We convinced that, I love the elementaries we had at the beginning of the year, that we do have 4 elementary sites, but we're all one school. And I really love the collaboration that our principals are doing with each other, and I think that's going to go a long way in growing our district. And so it was exciting to see this, and even our middle school and high school working together, and with our elementary sites to come up with these goals. So here's some ways that they're going to kind of do all of those things.
And there were just a few that were common, the reading of students and families in the morning and in the afternoons, really trying to get out there, learning all students and staff by names. I know right now middle school has a competition because they have a new staff at the middle school, a lot of new staff. And so they have a big competition on who, and Kim's shaking her head, who can know the most students' names. Like they're pop quizzing each other. Here's a student's face, who do you know? Who is this, So I think that's really a powerful thing to do, because there's nothing better than someone to know your name. I mean, that's important. That's very important. They have developed a lot of social committees, and that's just for the sites where they're going to eat and they're going to do different activities. Abby would be here tonight, but one of her social events is we hired, I know her name and I feel so old. Who did we hire that I know that they own the grill?
Oh,
Callie.
Callie.
Yes.
So they own the grill, and so they took the backyard part of it and they blocked it off for Abby and her staff. They're watching a movie out there. That's just their time to bond. So they've done several different things where they're trying to bond together as a staff. Conscious discipline, all of our teachers are being trained in, different ways to handle students in trauma, different ways to act within ourselves. PBIS, just different strategies that set your building with expectations of how things look in this building, how we walk down the hall, how we treat people, all of those things, how we track discipline. The learning environment's very welcoming. If you've been into a lot of these buildings, going into their classrooms, it's just that they're the most beautiful rooms you've ever seen. I mean, they have little bitty lights up. They might have a lamp. It's not dark, but it's just beautiful. And the things they have on their walls and the positive messages that are in front for kids. And one of the classes in the middle school I looked at, there's a mirror, and when they walk by, she has really neat positive. So I thought every time a kid sees their reflection and they see this positive message, how powerful is that? And also getting our information accessible to all our stakeholders through Facebook, emails, and text messaging. Really communicating. All these sites are doing a great job.
Parents love those pictures, everything that's posted every day. Get more comments about that. They love it. Of course, they love seeing their kids, but they love that.
They do.
And our principals have done a great job of doing, as also as all the classrooms, their teacher lounge and everything. No, I saw one of Amanda's pictures, she has some kind of tailgate party going on in her lounge right now, and I know one of Rhonda's things is her PTO was redoing their lounge for the teachers and making theirs, as we always, wanna work on our students, our trauma and mental preparedness, but we also have to do that for our teachers too, and make them feel comfortable and welcome there. And so as at our next one is to maintain a safe and secure environment for all. Sequoia and Cherokee, they had a lot of things alike. They were like their students and parents will express positive feedback about safety through a needs assessment. And however that needs assessment is done, if it's just survey, Ms. Vance brought up a good point in one of our surveys that maybe we only had 30 parents taking those surveys. We want to value what those 30 parents do in those surveys, but we need to make sure we're hearing from all of those parents. So just finding different ways to get those people involved to give us their feedback, and we want them, that's one of our things is when people give us feedback, that we put that feedback to use. And I think with our leadership from Ms. Jones, Ms. Mashburn, everybody, when someone tells us something, we sure try to listen and react to those things. So great thing there that they're doing and wanting to put that out there to get those positive feedbacks. At Greenwood and Heritage, their staff will maintain all the safety precautions by keeping the doors locked and badges worn daily. And so everyone had these things, but these are just things that we highlighted from each site, as you can see in, where's my badge? I don't know. Hey, but I did find my glasses, so we were good, so we can go. So, but I used to try to have them on, and I have left the door unlocked once, and so I've got a push pin for that from Ms. Jones, but that was okay. I think I can get that back, but I'm not bitter or anything about that. But where our staffs are doing a great job.
And then at the high school and middle school, we're also really focusing on people wearing their badges daily, keeping those doors locked, not propping those open. And second semester, we are gonna implement, help us, with all secondary students wearing a badge daily. Because we are really behind the 8 ball. All secondary high schools have their kids always have a badge. They can't get into games without them. They can't do even to away games. So we are gonna bite it off and we're gonna start it. And we'll try to be as positive as we can to just get everybody implemented and used to wearing their badges. Because we think that's important. We really do with our high school kids. It just is important to make sure that we have the right kids there. So
I think that's a job skill too. You don't walk in a business or a place of employment anymore that people aren't wearing badges. You used to only be hospitals, but now it's everywhere you go.
that's
People
true.
wear them, and it's getting used to putting it on I hang mine on my hair in my car.
Yes, being responsible.
I guess you can.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
I just wanna add that because we're able to love on a lot of our people right there, but Lacey and Nikki and Susan and Carr and Mashburn, all that good that you just heard is because of the work that they do every day. And we all believe truly that you need to begin with the end in mind, and I think that's what all these goals are going to do. We tried to have goals that we could go back and we could look at the end of this year and see what progress we made. And do we need to change the goal a bit? Do we need to have a loftier goal because we met it and, knocked it out of the ballpark? But they work so hard. And I think that we're seeing the evidence of that, like even in your comment. I mean, we're trying to flood the world with the good of what we do here because there's so much good that goes on every day. We're well aware that we have things that we want to do better, but you can always do things better. If better is possible, then good is not enough. I mean, I am never in the land of done. I'm a quote person, GE person. So we will always be looking to improve, but we always are going to highlight the great things we're doing in the meantime. So thank you, guys.
Deanna, I have a question. What's the composite ACT right now at the high school?
18.
18.
Or
18.
18 or 18.1?
It was 18,
Okay.
and I can show you this.
No, that's,
Yeah.
so 18.3,
And I went 18.5, but I got some pushback, so we're 18.3.
I think 18's good, I mean,
Right.
It's well above the state average of 17.7.
okay.
What's
That's
the
good.
state average, Natalie?
17.7.
So,
So we getting this from the junior grade, the junior test or, okay.
What is the
Yes.
oh, I 19, you're breathing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Usually 17 back when.
It's a suggestion.
And it's still 19, you have to take, remedial
Remedial,
courses.
yeah, take a
If
test.
you score under a 9.
Okay, okay,
And I think that's come from Europe data.
okay.
Are y'all ready?
We're ready.
More questions? Okay. Alright, so this is the 21-22 graduation dropout report and college remediation report. Ms. Wilson should be giving this report. This is all her good news. I don't wanna shout out to her, cause I'm sure, I know I was in a leadership position during this time, so it's difficult. There were 60 total students reported in grades 9 through 12 as dropouts during that school year of the 21-22. And the following corrections were made. So we did not find any students that re-entered at our site. We did not find any students that re-entered at a different site within the district. We had 19 students who went to other schools that were dropouts. We had one student pass the GED. No students went to homeschooling, no were in an error, and no were aged out. No students were aged out. So the corrections that we found were 20 students. They were removed from the final count. So there were 60 originally. We found errors on 20. So that final count was 40 dropouts. And it was high school and the alternative school. So the next slide will show you projections, years, and this is still 9 through 12 dropouts. This is not senior class. These are 10-day drops. And it goes all the way back from 2008 to 2009 school year. Our dropout rate was 4.31%. And our projected dropout rate for next year is 3.2%. So as you can see, we're gonna really improve that. And the dropout rate is your entire school population, 9 through 12. So that's very different than just your 12th graders. But as you can see, COVID did a number. Kids are very disengaged because of the pandemic. It's easier to stay at home. And we saw that, and I think all of our elementaries, it's good for us to get together with the elementary sites when we have admin meetings, because we are feeling apathy, and kids love being at home in their cocoon. And it's not just high school kids, it's all kids, K through 12, pre-K through 12. And Amy Slidell told us, she's with Conscious Discipline, that, as educators, we think somebody is to blame for these kids coming to us with these developmental and social problems from the pandemic, and it's no one's fault. The education that they gain while they are in school is so vital. And we didn't know this before because we didn't have a lapse in schooling. So we're seeing the effects of the profoundness of that lapse in education and teachers, and how vital teachers are, and how online schooling is not for every child. And what our teachers do is so important. Ever before we finding that out. And then our senior graduation class. Every student that attended regularly graduated high school. So we had 67 seniors, 19 withdrew to other schools. 1 student came to summer school and did not finish, and Nikki Malloy wore out the pavement tracking that child. We had 3 students that were 5th year seniors, and they did not graduate. 12 seniors were 10-day drops, so that's a 16 total non-graduates. We had 243 graduates, and 1 senior finished their GED. So our grand total was 93.4% on our graduation rate, and that's just 12th grade students. And that's pretty phenomenal facing the pandemic. So if kids went to school, they graduated. Very, very good. And then the next slide is our college remediation rate. So you have to go back to 2020 fall freshmen. So for Tahlequah High School, we had 0 people remediate in science, and as a freshman in 2020, we had 11.9% remediate in English, 17.9% in math, and 4.0% in reading. And if you look at our county and the state, we do a great job.
Those are kids that go to college and have to take a remedial class their first semester.
Yes. Yes. And when they take a remedial class, they have to pay for it double, basically. So, any questions? Yeah, it's no credit and you get to pay for it.
Yeah.
I can give you a couple of statistics to make you feel really good. He who shall but not be named, Ms. Walker always likes to say this, Epic Charter School has a 53% graduation rate currently, and 15% of their students enroll college as a freshman. When schools our size, about 50% of our kids enroll in college, so we're doing good things. Any questions?
Alright, financial reports.
Good evening. So the bank balance for the end of September was $7,337,865.60. You can find that number on page 2. Do you guys like me to tell you what page it's on, or do
Yes.
you do? Okay.
I just look at the front page. This is all there.
The receipts for general fund for the month of September, $2,312,148.74. Building fund was $4,001.91. That's on page 7. Co-op fund was $500. That's on page 6. Sinking fund was $17,869.17, and that's on page 9. Those are all the receipts. So the bank balance for general fund at the end of September was $4,965,147.34. Building fund was $1,194,309.22. Bond fund was $1,016,408.47. And sinking fund was $181,779.39. Activity fund at the end of September was $1,151,244.99.
our utilities. There was a slight increase in our utilities from the previous year. You guys have any questions on that?
On the utilities, I think we actually used less.
On a lot of buildings we did, but we were charged more
Right,
because of the rate.
yes,
So his
Right.
It was
efforts are,
sickening.
his efforts are working.
right.
What he does for energy management is working, but the price has gone up.
Everybody feels that at home too, right?
Yes.
Bill's still higher.
There were 19 service days during the month of September. And we served 32,398 lunches, 14,319 breakfasts, and 11,541 supper meals. So that's a lot. Yeah, when you put it into perspective like that and actually say the numbers, that's pretty hefty. We've been collecting free and reduced applications since mid to end July, I think around July 15th. And so far we have collected, and this includes online and paper, 1,294 applications, and that translates to a total of 2,056 kids. That only leaves 1,557 that need to turn money in.
Were the numbers lower when we went to online?
Went to,
Well, cause this was the first year you could do it online.
oh, the app's
And-
online, no. No, I mean, no, we're still, it's October and I foresee what has changed is the incomes. That has changed, but no, we're about the same as we usually are every year. We printed applications and gave them out we invited to our office to fill them out. But most of them love the online application process. I provided you with the free and reduced percentages breakdown for the district. It's ugly, I'm sorry. But it is what it is. And on the back is last year's, so that you can compare. We'll still be diligently working through the month of October to get as many applications in as we can. Again, child nutrition's reporting on the free and reduced applications doesn't happen until November. So we have the whole month of October to get applications turned in. And we have to use the October 1 enrollment, but we can still get applications in based on that. It's confusing, very confusing. Any questions? All right, our Thanksgiving lunches have been scheduled. I can't believe it's getting that time again already. The elementaries and Sequoia's lunch will be on November the 15th. And middle and high school will be November 16th. We're super excited because the families get to come again this year. And all of you are invited. We would love to see you there. Not sure of the menu yet.
We're fighting over turkey or ham.
Not
I'm a ham fan.
Well, not, the only reason we're fighting over turkey is because there might not be any available.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of the bird flu, I know. And I want chicken, like turkey, made up like turkey and ham, so it's a little debate we got going on. I said, ham is for Christmas. It is.
Maybe that's, I don't eat dressing, maybe that's why I don't like turkey.
Her opinion doesn't count.
It doesn't, the dressing is the best part.
I was gonna tell you you were taught on the goals earlier about having the kids input. If the three in my house are any indication, pepperoni pizza bento box is their favorite. The bento box. That's their favorite meal, and when it's on the, they're very excited when it's on the menu.
Pepperoni pizza.
Then my little one can't remember and she doesn't get it, she gets whatever the first line and then she gets mad because she didn't get it, but all three of them, that's the day that we don't have debate about whether or not we get lunch, so.
Cool. I'm a big fan, pepperoni pizza is my favorite too. I ate
These are the
pizza.
ones like you, they're make your own pizza, so it's like little piece of dough and the sauce and the cheese and they like put them together or whatever.
I like the old school pizza that we had when I went to school.
They like to put together.
We called it the square pizza. I had pizza and french fries every single day from tenth grade to twelfth grade. It's either that or a cheeseburger, so. And in keeping in line with my goals, every board meeting that I do, I'm gonna have a DYK, did you know? Gonna try to come up with something that maybe you didn't know, maybe nobody knows about child nutrition. I'm keeping it kind of fun today, we'll get maybe to the nitty gritty when I have more time to think and not immersed in applications. So we partner with Sodexo, and they have an app called the So Happy app. I don't know if anybody, yeah, see, it's a good thing, it's called the So Happy app. It's white with a red SO and a smiley face. I wanted to print a copy of that and put it up there and I just didn't get there. Anyway, it has all of the district sites on the app and all of their menus. And you can click on, say you wanna click on breakfast at Cherokee. It tells you everything they're having and the food and all of the calorie, all of the
That is cool.
yes, all of the nutritional analysis at your fingertips for every item that they have. So it's pretty cool. And it is available for Android and Apple. Last year it wasn't available for Androids, you know, because Androids are stinky phones, but this year it is available. We always have.
I have an Android too.
See, we can't, there's so many things we can't do if you have an Android, we can't send group text, you can't get pictures, but anyway, it is available for Android this year. And that is all, does anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
I do just wanna say, thank you for working on the apps. The apps really are super important. You know, our free and reduced rate is down right now from last year, but we don't feel like that's accurate because we are missing over 1,000 students' applications. They have been working diligently trying to get those, but like she's pointed out, her child count comes in November, and that's what feeds some of our funding, but some of our funding will be figured on October 1 numbers with kids, with 1,000 kids having applications missing. And many of them actually do qualify. And that's what determines some of our money for our school district. Not to mention that then students end up going onto full pay when they really aren't full pay, and then they have a bill that they have to try and work around, and it just becomes a bit of a mess. So it is super important if someone has not done their lunch application to please do that, and just to really help us every year get those in as quickly as possible.
I think we should send Nikki Malloy after.
I've already, I'm gonna try and
It is full
I got
pay is-
236
It's
on the list.
$25 a week if your kid feed breakfast and lunch at school, so
How much?
25, it costs me $75 a week to feed 3 kids at school.
And it's $3.50 a week if you are on reduced per child, and free if you're free. And Nikki works her rear off
And even
for
that, we
the
send out the
applications.
do them and but knowing the difference, that if there are parents out there that are on that bubble, knowing that it may save $20 per week per kid is a big deal.
And, we don't talk to a lot of parents until they did put an application in and they owe money and they call our office. But when we do talk to the parents, some of the first thing they say out of their mouth is, well, we don't qualify. Well, the scale goes up every year. Are you sure you don't qualify? Do you receive SNAP or TANF or FIDPR, which are tribal commodities? And a lot of them just don't realize, oh, wait, maybe I do. So,
Is that retroactive, like if they don't, it doesn't forgive their debt if they turn it in
Now, unfortunately, we are required to bill them for that. We give them all year to pay that off. Say they have a $50 debt, which none of them should have $50 debt, but say they have a $20 debt and they go to free tomorrow. We tell them, yes, you're responsible for that, and we tell them why, but we say you have all year to pay it. We ask that it's paid by April. You can pay 50 cents a day or 50 cents a week, whatever you can afford. But we do try to collect that because it has to be paid from somewhere, so, yeah. So anyway, when somebody tells you they don't qualify, I just always try to say, maybe you do, and you just don't know. Cause they do, the poverty level goes up every year, so, anyway. It's.
I had reached out to Tanya because I had 2 different people reach out, when every time the school lunch and paying and debt comes up, people wanna know if they can donate to, and you can write a check or come into the office and use credit card to pay for the, ROAR fund, and you can specify that for school lunch.
Thank you. Child nutrition, we rock and roar.
Okay, we need a, motion to approve the financial reports.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Second.
any further discussion? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Mrs. Coffin? Aye. Ms. Crawford? And aye. Do we wanna take a 5-minute break, or do we wanna go on 30? I think the rest of it's probably pretty quick.
I think it's good.
Alright. Item 8, this is,
I thought this was,
tell me, well, we've got to table it. So I need a motion to table item H.
I make a motion to table item H. I'll second.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Coffin?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? Aye. Discussion of vote to approve or not approve the 22-23 operational budget. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
You're gonna present this, right?
You guys should have one with you, look at, follow along. So there's a table of contents in there that you can look at. First page just says what our district mission statement is, what our district goals are, and some of the different programs that we have in our district. Page 2 shows you the fund balances for general fund for the past quite a few years, from 2009 all the way to this year. Building fund is below that, shows you the same thing. Then it shows the district membership as of October 3rd. And then it shows how many employees that we have as of now in the district. This is a good little thing that you can always keep, like today Tanya had a question and I was like, let's look at our handy dandy budget here. So on page 3, you can look and see, this is our revenue at a glance for this fiscal year. How much of it is local? So we have $6,551,067.30. 15% of our budget is local. 9% comes from the county. 51% comes from state. So 33% of our funding is federal funding for Tahlequah Public Schools. And then you notice that equals what our operating budget for the year is, which is the $44,826,159.82. Then you can look down, state aid, you can see what it's been for the past few years. So last year, we had an increase in state aid at $433,875.35. Hopefully we'll have an increase this year also. I think we're kind of projecting that we are gonna have a midterm adjustment that's gonna be positive for us. So hopefully by the end of next year, that will look about the same and we won't have a negative like in 2021. So page 4 and 5 is our estimate of needs, which you guys approved at the last board meeting. We went over that last board meeting, so I'm not gonna go through that again. This is the general fund revenue, so this is everything that we receive in revenue for the district. And if you go down to the bottom of it, it shows what our revenues are, and then what our expenses are gonna be, what we are estimating our expenses are gonna be, and then what our projected carryover right now, we're projecting a $3.6 million carryover at the end of the year. Now, we are hoping to grow our carryover in the next few years, So that's something that we're looking at also, and that we're watching really closely. So the next few pages, page 7 through 10, I think. This is the operating budget, so this shows you a breakdown of like things that we pay instructional staff, our counselors, speech pathologists. So it shows you that, and then sometimes it'll show you on page, let's see here. It'll show some of our services also. But if you go over to page 9, it'll show you like operation of building services. So that's gonna show you like the salaries of maintenance, but it's gonna also show you like how much we pay for our custodians under that statewide. And then you see like we have duct cleaning every year that we do, the pest control that we have to do every year, that type of information. And it goes down into ground services. So this is a breakdown of all of that. And that, so that ending number on there, if you refer back to your general operating budget, you'll notice that under expenses that those two numbers match for the expenses for the FY 22-23 year. Then on page 11, this is kind of just a rundown. It shows you like what we give to each of our sites. So we give each of our sites a budget every year. This year, Tanya decided that we were gonna kind of put it $1 to every student count and make those numbers meaningful to each site. And then the library on the bottom, that is actually a state mandated dollar amount per student. So that's state mandated, but we, or Tanya as superintendent, gives those sites their own operating budget at the beginning of the year. And then we have technology in there where Robert has his budget for the year that he can operate off of also. The next page, page 12, this is some of the technology purchases that we will make throughout the year. Some of them we've already made. And this is everything that, some of this, most of this Robert deals with. So $627,375. Which some of that is also like the summer refresh that we did through the summer where we bought new computers and new iPads and everything. Then on page 13 is the software. If you remember last year's software list, it was quite lengthy. They really went through and met as departments and everything and decided what they really, really needed. So we did save a lot of money in that area. So you notice that that is a lot more smaller than it was last year. So 62,000 roughly for this year. Then on page 14, this is the utilities, fuel, and insurance. And this kind of shows the past few years, what we are estimating for this year. Now, as far as the utilities and fuel on there, that's a guess, and that's literally based on kind of what we're seeing right now as increases. And then the OSAG and the OSIG, which is our workman's comp and our property, we know those numbers for sure because we've already met with them and we, have those bills. But, so like they had said earlier, we're seeing less usage on our utility bills, but with cost increase, we're still seeing higher bills. But they are going to participate in a free energy audit at the high school to find areas where we can save money. So Brad is gonna be working on that. And then we had a large increase in property insurance due to our buildings being underinsured due to the soaring building cost. So it was a lengthy process that me and Tanya and a few of us sat through with our insurance company. And we kind of tried to pick the medium of the road. So we didn't see a huge increase, but we did have to increase our property insurance on a lot of our buildings. Because if we would have had a loss, we wouldn't have been able to replace them. And then the very back page, this is just the building fund, the revenue that goes into the building fund throughout the year. And then these are some of the expenses that we're going to have this year. And then what our carryover in there, we are expecting a $1.6 million carryover, which will be a pretty good increase from last year, about a $400,000 increase. So, you guys have any questions? And you guys can keep these. These are for you to keep.
The carryover on the building fund is gonna be super important as we go through this bond. Like he presented earlier, we did, they had put some really good contingency money into the plan, but we, right now, even with no extra renovations, just doing the big projects, we're still a little above where we probably are supposed to spend. We will be very diligent about what we do and what we spend, but we really don't want to go over into our building fund. We want to save this as much as possible, so in a couple of years, when they all talk about this funding cliff that we're going to fall off, that we have something to help us, if the funding doesn't really go down drastically in a couple of years.
And also in the building fund, on the revenue, the Red Bud money, you know, we're supposed to be getting Red Bud money every year. I decided that we would just say that we are gonna get 50% of what we got last year. So if we get the exact same amount that we got last year, that's also gonna bump that carryover of a bunch. So.
Any other questions?
Good job. Great job.
Already have a motion and a second, so Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? Aye. And aye. Item J, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the surplus. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the surplus.
Any questions? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Coffin?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? Aye. Item K, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the following bids and quotes. Motion,
I'll make a motion to approve.
do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions, discussion? These are, Tanya talked about all of these earlier, the vehicles and the cameras. Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Coffin?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. I'm going to make a motion on L, because I am going to abstain from one, so I will move to approve L 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with the exception of 1F. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Coffin?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And I. Now, can I have a motion to approve item L1F?
I'll make a motion to approve L1F.
For a
I'll
second,
second that.
and I will just say this is Cherokee Nation and I always abstain from voting on these, so Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And I abstain. Item M, discussion vote to approve or not approve the schedule of encumbrances. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the encumbrances.
A second.
Any discussion? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And I. Item N, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the 22-23 Title I site parental involvement policies.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Usually we just do a district level parental involvement policy, but this year, we are doing our consolidated monitoring. Lacey's first year federal program, she drew it just like me, where she has to do the big monitoring process this fall. Praise the Lord, Nikki has helped both of us through it, but, they are requiring that we do that from a site level as well.
Any additional questions? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And I. Item O, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the 22-23 TPS Professional Development Committee. We don't have to read these, do we?
I make a motion to approve.
Okay.
How do I get to go read?
I'll second.
Alright, any discussion?
Throwing y'all's names up here.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And I. Item P, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the revision, review, adoption of the following policies. 1, impact aid, Indian policies and procedures. 2, accommodations for lactating employees. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Coffin?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? Aye. Item Q, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the 22-23 TPS Gifted and Talented Education Plan. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Coffin?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And I. are discussion and vote to approve or not approve the 2023 Board of Education meetings. Do I-
I'll move to approve. I won't be here for a while, but I'll move to approve.
I'll second
And we did move most of these meetings next year to the third Tuesday of the month instead of the second Tuesday, not all, but most. Just gives us more time for our the auditor to get our things to us, every month, for us to get utility bills and all the different pieces of things that we need
Yeah.
to have in place.
Any further discussion? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And I. Do I need to read this whole thing?
Yes.
3 times.
On here like this, we usually do.
Yeah, really?
This, I wanna say, let's read it, just,
Okay, I will.
it's
I'll
important,
do it.
you're not getting out of it.
I move to approve the resolution for a Board of Education primary election to be held February 14th, 2023, if only 3 or more candidates file for Board of Education positions scheduled to be on the ballot. A Board of Education general election, if necessary, shall be held April 4th, 2023, under the following circumstances. If only 2 candidates file for positions scheduled to be on the ballot, or for a position on the ballot for an unexpired term, or if no candidate in the Board of Education primary election receives more than 50% of the votes cast. The voters shall elect a board member for the board position number 3, which has a 5-year term of office. The polling places shall be open from 7:00 a.m. to 7:00 p.m. as provided in Title 26 OS 2002 Supplement Section 13A 101. The Board of Education requests the County Election Board to close the precinct polling places for precinct numbers 9, 11, and 30 located in Cherokee County, Oklahoma, for this primary election Tuesday, February 14th, 2023, and general election, if necessary, Tuesday, April 4th, 2023. Because only a portion of the precinct is located within the boundary of this district, and the board has determined that no one resides in that portion of the precinct. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. Item T, discussion and vote to approve or not approve statutory waiver deregulation application for library media specialist at Heritage Elementary School for the 22-23 school year. Do I have a motion?
We'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any discussion? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. I move to approve items U 1, 2, and 3 with the following: Michelle Wilson, OSB Special Care Para, Tracy Guthrie, Central Office Manager, Michael Sanders, Heritage PT Para Sub, and Ally Cisco, Heritage PT Para Sub. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. No new business?
No new business.
We are adjourned.